So as you can see, it's getting harder and harder to actually share some of my 365-day of plant space with my larger plants. And this is Philodendron cordatum. It's actually native to Brazil. And I got this as a cutting at the Aroid show from Eric, Aroid Daddy. And he was nice enough to give me a cutting of this because he had actually bid on it and I bid on it, and he ended up getting it, and he just sliced off a division for me, which you could see here, and it's growing up very nicely and actually putting out a new leaf, a brand new leaf, which is actually quite wonderful and very shiny. Also, you'll notice like these little red dots here. These are probably just nectaries. I've noticed that it provides like some sticky substance. So it's either doing guttation or some of that kind of sugary bits are kind of coming out, and maybe that's also to attract ants in order to be able to protect this plant in its native habitat. If you know a little bit more about why this particular philodendron actually does this, please let me know. You could tell me in the comments. This is a giant one. I mean, obviously I don't have it staked up, but I have it kind of growing in this very airy mixture of peat, sphagnum, little wood bark, and also a lot of perlite. And I've started to add more and more perlite into my plants because I like to be able to water them thoroughly and know that I'm not going to have any root rot. But it's not usually something that you have to worry about with philodendrons, because a lot of the philodendrons actually like water and like to be watered, and they can actually handle some of that, but you don't ever want to overwater them to the point that it ends up inviting root rot. This is something that will climb, so I'm kind of like shaking the aerial root like this. This is something that will climb, and these aerial roots will actually cling onto a sphagnum pole or some wood if you give it a piece of wood. And that is maybe something that I will do eventually with this one, but this one's still young. It's about 2 years old, or at least like that's the cutting that I got was about 2 years ago. I'm not giving it intense humidity. I mean, it is further away from my southwest facing window, and it's also under a grow light, but it's been a very good grower. I think I end up getting this only with two leaves, and now it actually has 4. I think Eric is growing his in a greenhouse, so I'm sure his is actually growing way more prolifically than mine, but I think that's just what you have to deal with when you have houseplants, is that they don't always grow as prolifically as you would want them if they're growing, for instance, in a greenhouse condition. As far as fertilizing this goes, it does put out some pretty big leaves, and I would say maybe on a bi-weekly basis, giving it a well-balanced fertilizer is going to be great. Otherwise, I think you could stick with giving this a little bit more moderate light. I am giving it a little bit more higher light conditions than some of my other philodendrons, but it seems like it could handle that.